you, Campbell. Next we have Laura Rea. She'll be reading from her screenplay, The Man Across the Street.
Thank you to everyone for being here. I'm going to preface my screenplay with a little bit of information, otherwise it may not make sense. The Man Across the Street is about a 14-year-old girl named Lydia who thinks the man who just moved in across the street is a spy. And so she has a sleepover with her friends one night, and she confides in them that she thinks he's a spy. And they decide to dare her to get proof that he's a spy. So where I'm about to pick up in the screenplay is where she goes and executes her dare. Excuse me, my throat's a little. Exterior, Murkowski House, front yard, midnight. Lydia, 14, stands on the sidewalk outside her house, dressed in jeans, tennis shoes, and a black hoodie. She turns to look at Melissa, 14, and Sally, 14, crouched behind a porch column. They both shoo her forward with their hands. Lydia turns back to Mr. Green's house. It is completely dark, with the exception of a light above the front door. Lydia runs quietly to the tree in front of Mr. Green's house. She waits for a moment, chest heaving slightly. Lydia takes a deep breath and runs to the bushes lining the front of Mr. Green's house. She follows them along the side of the house using a flashlight to look inside. Lydia sees a nearly empty living room with just a small couch, chair, table, and lamp. Nothing hangs on the walls. Lydia continues moving along the bushes to the backyard. She pauses to listen for any noise before looking into another window. Lydia peeks through a window and quickly shines the flashlight on a kitchen table, 2 chairs, and a refrigerator. A door off to the side of the kitchen is closed. A sliver of light shines from underneath the door. Suddenly the door opens. Lydia lets out a muffled scream and turns on her heel to run. The back door opens, but Lydia does not turn around. She races around the side of Mr. Green's house and straight to her house. Lydia runs past Melissa and Sally hiding on the porch and into the house. Melissa and Sally follow close behind. The door slams and locks. Mr. Green, 35, stands in the shadows near the side of the house. He slowly walks closer to the front of his house, staring at the house across the street. He pauses before turning and heading towards his backyard. Murkowski House, Lydia's bedroom, early Saturday morning. Mrs. Murkowski, loudly. Lydia, I need you in the living room. Lydia quickly raises her head from her pillow. Her tousled hair falls into her eyes. She looks around at Melissa and Sally, still asleep on the floor in sleeping bags. She glances at the clock, which displays 7:30 a.m., and groans. Lydia throws on a robe over her pajamas and smooths her hair before opening her bedroom door. Mrs. Murkowski stands in front of Lydia with her arms crossed. Her right eyebrow is raised and she taps her right foot. In a low voice, you want to tell me why a police officer came to my door at 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning? Lydia is stammering, well, we were maybe just a little too loud last night. Mrs. Murkowski, too loud? The police officer, you said you were peeping into Mr. Green's window last night. Mom, listen, and Mr. Green, leave the man alone, Lydia. Your previous fixations never brought a police officer to my door. Mrs. Murkowski walks around Lydia to enter the bedroom, loudly clapping her hands. Melissa and Sally sit up startled. Sorry to end this sleepover this early, girls, but Lydia is now grounded after last night's shenanigans. I'll drive you both home after breakfast. Mrs. Murkowski shoots Lydia a stern look before walking out of the room. Melissa and Sally glare at Lydia and step out of their sleeping bags. Lydia shrugs her shoulders and sighs. Thank you.